Hello everyone, it's me, Clayton. I just got back from watching Alpha, directed by Albert Hughes and starring Cody Smith McPhee. Now, this movie, when it first came out with its previews, made me think that it would just be a pretty generic prehistoric film about a boy and his wolf. And thankfully, this film happened to exceed my expectations, as yes, it is a story of a boy and his wolf, but it happens to be one of the best versions of the story that I've seen since Spice and Wolf. Not which is kind of a bad comparison considering they're two completely different boy and his wolf stories, but let's just get to the story so I can show you that. The movie takes place several thousands of years in the past in Europe, a prehistoric era where where we follow a young boy who hunts animals with his tribe until one day he gets separated from his tribe after a hunting exercise gone horribly wrong, and now he has to find his way back home while also befriending a young wolf that he finds while he is traveling back. But their journey back will not be easy, as not only is our main character battered and beaten throughout the majority of the film and suffers numerous injuries, but he has to go through the desert, through the snow, through caves, through every single environment that you can imagine for this prehistoric era just to make it back to his tribe and back to his family. Now the story here is very basic. You can basically tell what's going to happen and when it's going to happen, so there's no real surprises in the actual narrative. But that doesn't matter in the slightest, considering what the film does well is how it handles the said narrative, and it does handle it very well. The film, one thing that makes it unique is the fact that it uses an extinct language for it. So there's no English spoken throughout the whole movie. There is a decent amount of dialogue, but almost all of it is done in this extinct European language, and I think it works out really well. Not only that, but Cody Smith McPhee delivers an excellent performance as our main character, and he happens to be quite emotional. He happens to go through many of the motions that you'd expect for a character type of his to go through. He's emotional, he's headstrong, he's constantly wanting to prove himself, and it's endearing to follow him simply because he's a simple character done very, very well. Albert Hughes has that style down, where he knows the story he's going for is a bit conventional, but he handles it in a different way, and he handles it in a smart way. Not only that, but the dog that they got to play Alpha, the wolf of the Boy and His Wolf story, is very good too. You really get the sense of the bond between Cody Smith McPhee and Alpha, since they're often the best scenes of the film are often the ones that don't have dialogue at all, where it all boils down to just McPhee's acting without speaking, and it all goes down to Alpha's movements, and a lot of them are handled very, very well. The music also deserves a mention. It's very epic, very loud, and very grand. Really getting you into the atmosphere and really getting you into the environment that the film sets itself in. I do know there was a little bit of CGI with some of the animals. Some of them were real animals, some of them are CGI, but it's honestly hard to tell half the time since the CGI that is used in the film is very good, blending in very well with everything else that's there, to the point where I couldn't tell in some cases which animals were CGI'd and which ones were actually real animals. If I had one minor complaint, it's that the film does seem to run a little bit short. It's only 97 minutes long, and while it doesn't feel that short, it could have used maybe a few extra minutes of the journey to make it even grander. It just feels like it ends a little too short, if you know what I mean. But aside from that, Alpha is definitely a story I didn't expect to enjoy as much as I did, and I think you should check out as well. I give Alpha an 8 out of 10. See you next time.